Alright, good morning. Happy Thursday. I am at Sparing for meetings all day, and I knew you would miss me so much. So you were going to watch a video of the lesson today, just like it would be if I were in class teaching today. So you should have picked up your blue note sheet. You need to have a seat. You need to get out your homework test corrections from last night. And at this time, pass them to one person at your table and turn them into your bin. Then you need to get out your notebook and be ready for the warm-up. At any time today, you may pause this video as you are completing tasks and press play to keep going. So I'm going to keep going on to the warm-up. Your warm-up today is to write each number as a product of two numbers in as many ways as possible. So for example, how many ways a product is multiplication, we remember, is multiplication. And so I want to know how many ways two numbers equal the number 6. And the same thing for 16, 17, and 36. So take a minute, pause the video, and work on the warm-up. When you're ready, hit play. Alright, for number 1, how many ways can we write 6 as a product of two numbers? Right off the bat, I'm thinking 1 and 6. I'm thinking 2 and 3. And you also could have had 3 and 2. For 16, I'm thinking 1 times 16. I'm thinking 2 times 8. I'm thinking 4 times 4. Can you think of any other ones? 17. The only one I can think of, oh no, why'd that move? The only one I can think of is 1 and 17. Because 2 doesn't go into 17, 3 doesn't go into 17, 4 doesn't, 5 doesn't, 6. So the only two factors are 1 and 17. Last one, number 4. How many ways can we write 36 as the product of two numbers? I'm thinking 1 and 36. I'm thinking 2 times 18. I'm thinking 3 times 12. I'm thinking 4 times 9. 5 doesn't go in. And I'm thinking 6 times 6. Okay, so we're going to be working a lot today with factors of numbers. So let's get familiar with these in the warm-up. Alright, get out those notebooks and write down your objective. Your objective for today is I will learn to find the prime factorization of composite numbers. I will learn to find the prime factorization of composite numbers. Get this objective down in your notebooks. I'm going to move on, but pause this video if you need time to write. Alright, some vocabulary on your blue sheet. A prime number is a whole number greater than 1 that has only two factors, 1 in itself. So for example, 1, the only factors are 1 times 1. For 2, the only factors are 1 times 2. The only factors of 3 are 1 times 3, and so on for 5, 7, 11. So the only factors are 1 and itself. 1 and itself. A composite number is a whole number that has more than two factors. So for example, 4 could be 1 times 4, but it also could be 2 times 2. So it has 3 factors, 1, 4, and 2. Same thing goes for 6. We can have 1 times 6. We can have 2 times 3. More than just 1 in itself. So let's go over how to find the factors of a number using the rainbow method. I remember some of you told me that you used this last year in 6th grade, so this should be pretty familiar to you. If I'm trying to find all of the factors of 24, the number that I always start counting with is 1, okay? So I am going to ask myself, self, what times 1 equals 24? And your self should say 24. Okay, so 1 times 24 is 24. Then what's the next number I normally count with? The next number I count with is 2. I ask myself, self, what times 2 is 24? 12. And I make my rainbow. Then the next number I usually count with is 3. Then I ask myself, self, what times 3 is 24? And it's 8. And then the next one, 4. What times 4 is 24? And it is 6. Now the only number left in between 4 and 6 is 5, but 5 is not a factor of 24. Because my factors, if 5 is a factor, the number will end in a 0 or 5. So that is an example of the rainbow method. Let's try one more for 30. What are all the factors of 30? So I'm going to start with 1 and 30. I'm going to draw my rainbow. If I'm writing, you should also be writing. I should see rainbows on every single one of your papers when I come back. So I have 1 and 30. The next number I start counting with is 2, and I ask myself, what times 2 is 30? 15. Draw my rainbow. I'm going to go in the right color order this time. Then I have 3. What times 3 is 30? 10. Does 4 go into 30? Nope. Does 5 go into 30? Sure does. So then I go to 5. What times 5 is 30? And you'll get 6. And I know there's no numbers in between, whole numbers in between 5 and 6. So that's it. The factors of 30 are 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, 15, and 30. Alright, so we are going to try these 4 on your own. You are going to practice identifying if they're prime or composite numbers. Remember, prime numbers have only 2 factors, one in itself. And my phone is ringing. Sorry about that. So you are going to determine the factors of the following numbers and then determine whether they are prime or composite. So I should see rainbows on all 4 of these problems, and I should see you identifying whether they are prime or identifying whether they are composite. So take some time to do that now and pause this video while you're working. Oops. Alright, so number 1 is 7. So if I'm making my factor tree, I know that 1 and 7 is my first factor pair. Anything else can go in there? Does 2 go into 7? Does 3 go into 7? Does 4 go into 7? Nope. So the only factors of 7 are 1 in itself, which makes this a prime number. Next one, 15. We have 1 and 15. We have 3 and 5. And that's it. So does this have more factors than just 1 in itself? If the answer is yes, it is a composite number. Next one, 49. I start with 1. 1 times 49 is 49. Does 2 go in? Nope. 3? Nope. 4? Nope. 5, 6. And the only other one is 7. Okay? So 7 times 7. If you have something that's 7 times 7, just kind of do that, and then you can make a little tiny rainbow. But you really only have to write the factor once. So this has more factors than just 1 in itself. So this is a composite number. Last one. I'm running out of room, so I'm going to do my rainbow over here. I have 1 and 12. I have 2 and 6. I have 3 and 4, and that's it. So these, the factors of 12 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12, and that is more than just 1 in itself, so this is also a composite number. Alright, we have one more vocabulary word on your blue note sheet, and it is called prime factorization. So prime factorization is writing composite numbers as the product of its prime factors. Remember, product again is, alright, so product again, it's multiplication. So the first way that you could do this is a factor tree, and the second way is a step diagram. Some of you will remember these from last year. I personally like factor trees better. I think step diagrams can get a little confusing, but I will show you both ways. Alright, the first method is factor trees. So the directions, we're going to make branches of 2 factors from my rainbow and keep going until you're left with all prime numbers. Okay, so my factors of 36, I'm just going to write them out real quickly, are 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, and 4 and 8, and then 6 times 6. Okay, so 36 has a lot of factors. So I am going to look, oops, that's bad. I am going to look for the last rainbow. So this is a rainbow, this is a rainbow, 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 and then 6 is all alone. So that is the greatest factor, and that's what I'm going to start with to make this a little less long. Okay, so 36 is the same thing as 6 times 6. Okay, but 6 is still a composite number, so I have to keep going until these are prime numbers. Okay, so I keep going, and what times what is 6? It could be 1 and 6, it could be 2 and 3. I'm going to go with 2 and 3 because I'm trying to get prime numbers, and those are both prime numbers. So when they're prime numbers, you circle them, because that means you can't make any more branches. I want everybody to be getting this in their notebooks. If I'm writing, you are writing. Do the same thing over here. You have 6, and you have 2, oops, wrong color. 2 times 3, because that is 6. And 2 and 3 are both prime numbers. So my prime factorization of 36 is 2 times 3 times 2 times 3. But we learned last chapter that when we multiply numbers together, we multiply more than one type of number together, we can write them as an exponent. So I have 1, 2 here and 1, 2 here. So that's the same thing as 2 times 2, which is the same thing as 2, oops, squared. Okay, so you can write prime factorization by using exponents, and the exponent tells us how many times to use the base, which is 2, as a factor. So the prime factorization of 36 is 2 squared times 3 squared, because I have 3 2 times. Alright, moving on. I will do another example with you. This time I'm not going to worry about writing the rainbow, because this is such a big number. You just gotta have to pick something and start. So when I see a number that is a multiple of 10, I always start with 10. So 10 times what is 280? It's 28. And I'm going to go over here and branch off to my 10 and do 5 times 2, because that's 10. And I know that 5 and 2 are both prime numbers, so I can stop on that branch. But I can't forget to go back over to 28. 28, I'm going to say 7 and 4. And one of those numbers is a prime number. What do we think it is? 7 or 4? It is 7. And I'm pausing, and please start the next video. I'm out of time.